I'm an advanced trainee in general paediatrics and paediatric emergency medicine, and have taken this year to really hone and develop my expertise in running simulations. My role as the MACA Simulation Education Fellow involves working with the sim team to design, deliver and evaluate immersive multidisciplinary team scenarios for lots of different departments in the hospital. We run scenarios up here in the sim suite for our hospital out-of-hours team, but we also run in-situ scenarios on the wards in ED and in theatres. Obviously the sim suite looks like the ward environment, so it feels like you're on the ward when you're doing the scenarios, and we try and make sure that they've got access to the same equipment, medications that they can draw up, that they can give the medications that they're going through the practice that they would on the ward to make it as realistic as possible. So the process is that we design a scenario that's relevant to the team that we're working with, that includes doctors, nurses, allied health professionals, around a clinical scenario they might come across commonly, or a rare scenario that's an emergency and that they don't meet often, so need to practice. The mannequins that we're using these days help make it really realistic. They move, they talk, they blink. You can examine them and get the clinical findings you would in a real patient. One of the highlights is working with the STARS out-of-hours team. That's the team I probably work most consistently with. That's the team of doctors and nurses that are looking after the hospital in the evenings and the weekend. And they might be called to see a whole range of medical emergencies or a deteriorating patient. So a common scenario that we would do with that team would be a deteriorating patient that might have sepsis, or a patient that develops anaphylaxis. We might do other scenarios that they don't see as often, which might be around airway difficulty, and a lot of our focus is on patient safety and thinking about how they appropriately escalate for help. So one of the really exciting parts of the fellowship that's going to come up in the next few months is developing my own simulation-based course. So this is well underway at the moment, and it's going to be around looking at de-escalation skills in the aggressive, violent or agitated paediatric patient in hospital. To do that, I'm working with colleagues from a broad range of specialties, including emergency, mental health, the security team and the adolescent medicine team, to put together a one-day immersive course that will help clinicians and nurses and allied health who meet these scenarios on a regular basis in their clinical work but don't necessarily have specific training to develop tools to use in those situations. The funding from MACA to support this simulation fellowship is essential. This is the only paediatric simulation fellowship in WA, and so it's a sought-after position. It allows a senior trainee to hone and become an expert in running simulation, which would be very difficult to get from anywhere else. My aspiration for the future is that medical education and simulation education in particular will play a prominent part in my career, both in general paediatrics and particularly in paediatric emergency medicine.